Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to Magnanimosity. We are a grassroots organization committed to unleashing the human spirit and maximizing the potential of future generations. This is part 10 in a 10-part series entitled, Oh Yes We Are, Unleashing the Human Spirit. Please feel free to visit us at magnanimosity.webs.com. Ladies and gentlemen, even child molestation in many cases contains a seed of goodness, one's subconscious desire to love their own internal wounded child. Unfortunately, that seed is often destroyed or overwhelmed by the perpetrator's need to regain the control that they themselves lost during their own infancy. In addition, as we talked about earlier, the perpetrator's own identities have been replaced by that of their own early abusers. This cycle of abuse is known to be very difficult to forestall, and in many cases it continues from generation to generation and perfectly illustrates the influence of our childhood on our adulthood. How is it that we routinely succumb to our little selves when our largeness dwells within? Why do we continue to walk like zombies from mall to mall in search of yet another thing that we are so sure that we need, blind to the suffering of our brother or sister? We have drifted so far from our intended greatness that many of us have chosen to dwell in the darkness rather than invoke the light. The light can be perceived as an unfamiliar and scary place. Some simply cannot cope with the idea, but for the grace of God go I. We are on the earth plane for a reason, to lead each other to the truth. The truth shall indeed set us free. The truth cannot be taught in the scholastic sense. The greatest we can aspire to is to manifest our natural propensity to love one another in unconditional and non-judgmental ways. That is our natural proclivity. It is the path to our collective liberation. That does not mean that we should ignore obvious shortcomings and injustices. Quite the opposite. We must illuminate dynamics that serve to thwart our evolution if we are to fully express life. We are called upon to be the best that we can be. Desires and the expression and fulfillment thereof happen and are an indication that our Creator and His influence have been maximally expressed. On the flip side, when our very earliest, most basic needs and desires have been thwarted and or ignored or suppressed as a result of poor mothering, we are led to every form of character disorder, neurosis, paranoid schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, manic depressive disorder, and in fact, it has been proven to be the common denominator amongst most serial killers. The suppression of early childhood desires is responsible for many of the world's ills. Nothing is more vexatious to the human spirit, and when the human spirit is smothered, ultimately and eventually, all hell will break loose. The fact of the matter is, only very few of us possess the ability to become truly self-actualized. We do, however, possess the ability to maximize the potential of future generations. There are solutions to our problems, some subtle and gradual, some extreme and revolutionary. Some will be largely ignored and indeed condemned, as were the ideas of Copernicus, Socrates, Plato, Jesus, just to name a few. One thing is certain, having read this material and listening to this series, one cannot claim ignorance of the problem. Many will continue to remain in denial. Many will continue familiarity of the darkness. Some simply do not care. I am appealing to those of you who possess the courage and the generosity of spirit to lead future generations to a more loving, joyful, and peaceful existence. To indeed liberate the human race from its smallness. And to the still ambivalent ones, why not roll the dice? Our old ways are simply not working. We have so much to gain and nothing to lose. Ladies and gentlemen, the foregoing is a work in progress. It is grossly incomplete and certainly unedited and unpolished. It merely contains glimpses into the problem. It is the seed that will hopefully prompt dialogue and solutions to the problem. A more comprehensive look into the problem is, however, forthcoming along with possible solutions. It will also include a clear and more complete illustration of how and why mothers fail to raise healthy children. It will also contain a detailed look at the staggering cost to society on a multitude of levels. This information is intended only for the few who are selfless enough to care about a world they may never personally have the chance to enjoy. This is not the end, it's only the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes part 10 of this 10-part series entitled, Oh Yes We Are, Unleashing the Human Spirit. Don't forget to join us at magnanimosity.webs.com. And thank you.